gentlemen, to another episode of LEGTV is the all-important final week of the regular season. I'm your host, John David Brake. Boy, do we have a lot to get through today. Let's check out last week's scores to see who came out on top. We obviously have the win from Pokemon Gotta Catch It All. Got their 11th win of the season over the Daxtree Boys. Number 1 beats number 2, 190 to 167. Brock Bowers, 32 points there, overcoming Lamar, Bijan Robinson, and DJ Moore with some solid production there. Let's go over, looks like Working from Mahomes gets a much-needed win to stay alive in the playoff hunt. Jordy Love and Mike Evans had a nice output there. Boom, there's the flavor at 3-10, and there's that Arizona Cardinals trio just not really doing what they're supposed to do. Poor Mickey. Rocky Bitches loses to Jables Modelovirus, who is clinched a playoff spot thanks to Jaden Daniels and Bucky Irving. Jamar Chase had a nice game. Not enough from Ladd and Patty Mahomes and Scary Terry for Plows. He loses 185 to 170. Dan gets a win over bye week Fields of Gold, 181 to 137 to stay alive in the playoff hunt. Solid, even distributed points throughout his starting lineup. All three of those guys, look at that, 20 points each, Stafford, Hill, and Williams. And it looks like Clock Gobblers, they're going to be in Hoffa territory here. They lost to Intentional Pounding, 191 to 131. Joe also clinches a playoff spot, has a chance to get a first-round bye still. Thanks to Josh Allen, Jonnu Smith, Josh Jacobs leading the way there. And the Purdy Little Liars with a statement win, 190 to 166 over his brother, Joe Burrow, David Njoku, Joe Mixon. Very solid performance, thus giving Abby the chance to solidify a playoff spot. And that's what we are talking about, is what are the playoffs going to look like because of this week's matchups. It is bye-mageddon, Week 14, Texans, Colts, Commanders, Ravens. Lots of Broncos, lots of teams are on bye this week. So we have a very special guest, one of the owners in LEG, one of the most consistent playoff appearances in league history on this week's Owner Spotlight. We welcome to the program the 2022 champion, Mr. Joe Murdoch. Been around since 2011. Can you believe that?
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Now, I'm going to drop a stat on you. You ready?
Ready.
Since you've been in the league, and this is why I'm bringing you on, especially for this week, since we're going to talk about how the playoffs are going to shake up, you have the highest percentage of playoff appearances per season. So you've been in the playoffs more often than you haven't. So there's some consistency.
I feel like I've only missed the playoffs maybe once.
I think it was once or twice since you started in 2011. I think Dan was only
early on.
Game. I think he was like, there was one more season he didn't make the playoffs, so you edged him out. So you're like you're in the playoffs more than anybody.
Well, every time I get in, Dan takes me out of there. So
yep. I remember some of those.
Might happen again this year, the way things are looking too.
Well, that's what we're going to dive into. So how are you feeling about this year's squad compared to some past playoff teams? You a little shaky? You worried about Dan? Who do you want to play in that first round? Because you've already clinched. You're in no matter what.
I don't want to play in the first round.
Yeah, there's a chance.
I got a shot at a bye.
There is a shot at the bye.
I put up 55 on Austin.
Yeah, we're gonna need some points help, and Austin's got to lose, and I think he's got a cush schedule because there's some games coming. There's one game in particular that we're gonna focus in on that has playoff ramifications. So basically, if Jable loses, things are gonna get crazy.
Yeah,
then it's just down to who scores what amount of points. So this season, what is the most surprising thing for the 2024 season that you did not see coming?
Surprising for this year. I mean, I didn't see this complete onslaught by your team, just running through everybody, scoring 200 points a week. I didn't see that coming.
Not gonna lie, I was fishing for that.
Is that what you're going for?
I was fishing for that. I mean, yeah, We talked about it last time, but I feel like if I don't win this season, I may do something drastic. I just I'll just admit that I'm cursed. I'm cursed. I'm like the 2000 Colts, man. Just that
How long has
one.
it been since you won?
I haven't won a championship since 2013. So it's been a while, and I'm overdue. And I hope this is the year, and we're gonna see how that shakes out. So you ready to dive into the matchups?
Let's do it.
So let's start with mine. I benefit from a pretty soft matchup against Dahlgren, who's out. He may avoid Hoffa Bowl territory. We'll see. But I'm taking on Dahlgren 5-8, 11-2, first place, projected to win 169 points. To be fair, we'll go through the rosters, even though I kind of feel like I think we know who's going to win, because this week is bye-mageddon, right? There's Broncos, Ravens,
Week.
Colts, Commanders. Tons of players are out this week.
You think the NFL would have some more sympathy for fantasy players than that?
Right?
This was the ultimate bye week on the last week of the regular season.
No kidding. It's bye-mageddon. So, Joe, looking at, it's the same players I talk about all the time. Jalen Hurts, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Saquon Barkley, who you have in another league that you are in first place for that reason, and Derrick Henry. Now, I don't have Derrick Henry this week, so I'm plugging in Chase Brown, who's now the bell cow back in Cincinnati, and they don't really have anything to play for other than pride. And I got to go with Rico in the flex. Where do you think? Where am I going to get hurt on this roster? Who do you think's going to have a bad week this week?
I'm going to go with Tyler Bass, who's going to have the worst week out of your lineup here. Yeah, I'm looking at your roster here, and pretty much top to bottom, it's ironclad. Obviously you got Dowdle at the flex because you have to, but I don't think that's such a bad play, honestly. It's not like Cincinnati's defense has been stopping anybody.
Exactly.
Considering Burrow's been putting up 40 points a game and still losing.
I don't get it. I don't get he's having like an MVP year and his team is terrible. We need to find what are the options for Dahlgren to actually pull this out and pull off the upset. Starting Sam Darnold at quarterback against Atlanta, who Sam Darnold's been a pretty pleasant surprise. CeeDee Lamb, he hasn't been really that effective. He's gone down, but he's not like Tyreek Hill without Tua kind of bad. He's been still putting up numbers. I don't know what's going on with the Jets. Devontae Adams, they put so many Band-Aids on that team and nothing seems to work. And I don't like this Chuba Hubbard play either against the Eagles. That's going to be tough. He has to, but that's going to be a tough play. And then Gus Edwards is not J.K. Dobbins, apparently. And George Kittle at tight end going against the Bears. The Niners.
Edwards is the key for me, or for Dahlgren. He's super touchdown dependent. He always has been. Just lucked into 14 touchdowns last year, however many it was. I can't see him winning. I can't see him pulling this out at all.
Yeah.
And the flex, who's he throwing in there?
Yeah. He'll probably put in Brian Thomas, I guess, or Jerry Jeudy.
I might do Jeudy over Thomas just because I don't like McCorkle throwing the ball in Jacksonville. I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much going on here with this.
So I'll take that as a consensus. We're both agreeing with Yahoo. So yeah, that will be the first 12-win season since 2013. First 12-win season, even though we're playing 14 games. All right, here's the big one. This is the one that has a lot of playoff ramifications because Dan Nickel is just right there on the cusp, the 6th seed at 7-6, taking on Jabel, who's locked in the playoffs. But if he loses, there's going to be some shifting going on, and plus he doesn't have that many points compared to 5 and 6. So, Dan versus Jabel. Dan has cut ties with all quarterbacks, and he is cooking with Russ. He is all in on Russ Wilson. And as we mentioned earlier, Tyreek Hill, who's kind of been up and down, but Tua's back, and he's going up against the Jets, who actually defend well against the pass. T. Higgins, I like that play against Dallas. T. Higgins is a solid backup to Jamar Chase. And who knows what the Bengals are going to do, if they're still just going to keep just trying to win games or just phone it in. I don't know. His running back, I like his running backs, David Montgomery and Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams, you don't get a lot of passing from him, but he's still, everything's on the ground. And TJ Hawkinson has been pretty solid coming back from injury as well, with Isaiah Pacheco, who's back in the flex. Who's got to be the player that's got to overperform on that roster for Dan to make sure Jabel does not shut out his playoff chances?
I think the key's in the flex. Pacheco coming back. Obviously, they kind of slow rolled him the first week. I don't know if this is the week for him, though. If I had to guess, it would be next week is when he's really looking like his old self.
Yeah. And that's against a Chargers team that's pretty tough.
Good defense. Very good defense.
Very.
I don't know if it's this week for Pacheco, but that's really the key for Dan, I think. But I don't even think that's going to matter.
Yeah. Well, now Dan's favored to win 150 to 132, but Jabel's got some bye issues with defense, and he'll plug him in, and that projection is probably going to outpace Dan. He's starting Kirk Cousins because Jaden Daniels is on bye, and I saw some weird stat that Kirk Cousins, the Vikings blitz a lot, and when Kirk Cousins is blitzed, he actually passes more and has more completions and touchdowns, some weird stat where he's actually better fantasy football wise. He's probably gonna throw some interception. Fantasy football wise, he's better when he's blitzed, and Minnesota blitzes more than anybody. There's Jamar Chase Monday night against Dallas. Khalil Shakir, who looks like is Josh Allen's favorite target besides Josh Allen, and the running backs, Tyrone Tracy and Bucky Irving, who Bucky looks like, that's a three-headed monster, but now it's kind of Bucky's backfield, it looks like.
He was a DMP yesterday, right?
He was. It's a hip and back thing, but I think he practiced today.
Okay.
He practiced today, so he should suit. And then Laporta, who was a high draft pick, and I'm sure Jabel is kicking himself for drafting him so high because he's been kind of hit or miss, but has come on late. And then in the flex, Devontae Smith.
Better lately.
Yes. And then, once he plugs in these defensive players, I think he's going to project higher. But currently, Yahoo has Dan winning. Who takes this one?
It's Dan. Dan does this thing where he stores these players. He did last year with JT and Cooper Kupp, and waits for the very end of the season for these guys to hop into a lineup that was already pretty solid. This year is TJ Hawkinson. Obviously, he had already had Pacheco, but he's coming back now.
Yep.
I don't know. And Tyreek Hill was obviously just completely MIA while Tua was out.
Yeah.
But now it seems like he's going on an upward trajectory going into the playoffs, bringing all these guys back. So, and I like his defense too.
He's solid defense. There was a game where he almost scored 100 points on just all defensive kickers. It was insane. And he has DK Metcalf on his bench. I don't know. Maybe he's got.
I'd probably go Metcalf over Pacheco this week, but
yeah, that's what I was saying. Maybe he sees something I don't, but I think Jabel's going to win and he's going to shut Dan out. And I want that to happen because I don't want Dan in the playoffs.
Yeah, me neither. I don't want him to have any part in that.
Nobody does. Nobody does. Now, hey, here's your chance at a first round bye. Austin Stoll taking on Adam Barris, who's right there. He's in 7th place, just on the outside looking in, and a couple of games change, and he's in the playoffs. Austin's in bye week trouble. His main guy.
Got work to do.
Yeah, he's got some work to do. So we can't really give a real analysis on his roster because he's out with all the Ravens players. Lamar Jackson, who's probably going to win another MVP. Mark Andrews and Justin Tucker. And there's Tank Dell of the Texans. So they're all out, and he's got Juwan Jennings probably going to plug him in there for the Niners, and I don't know what he's going to do for tight end. He doesn't have a backup tight end. He's going to have to drop somebody.
He doesn't have a quarterback.
And he does. Oh yeah, he doesn't have a quarterback either. So there might be some. Wow, good catch. Yeah, he's probably going to have to drop some people, which.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I'm licking my chops here because there might be some people he drops that I want. But
I mean, 40 or 55 points doesn't look too bad considering half the team is gone.
It's very, very possible, Joe. It's very possible you could grab that second round bye and then everything's crazy. That would be amazing. Now here, let's look at Barris's roster. He's kind of been riding the Jordy Love, Jaden Reed combo, which is also, it's been hit or miss, just like, Nico Collins and CJ Stroud. I thought that was going to be every single week. That was going to be solid. This one's, it's up or down. You got your Romeo Dobbs and your Christian Watson kind of taking turns there. Jacoby Myers, I like, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that's going to be a wild game. And James Conner, I mean, he's got a solid floor. But they keep talking about him losing target share and not playing as much. And then I don't like the Madison play in the backfield for the Raiders against the Bucs. And Travis Kelce, he's a shell of his former self going against the Chargers. But again, I mean, it's Kansas City. They usually play up to good defenses like that and somehow win out of nowhere. But the flex, I like the flex. Mike Evans, it seems he's healthy and he's back. Is there a chance? Is there a world where number one, Adam wins, and number two, Austin does not score enough points, and you get the second round bye?
Yeah, it's this world. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and man, poor Barris. He's waiting on McCaffrey all year. He held on to him, got a couple games, and now he's done.
Right back out.
He's done.
But I like the Love Reed combo. I like Myers. Connor's fine. Madison's trash. Kelsey will be good. Evans is good. And Austin just has too many holes to fill. So, I mean, Barris wins. But, yeah, I don't know. Until Austin throws some people in there, I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, I'm more interested in seeing who he's going to cut from that team.
Mm-hmm.
If it's he could just like cut a kicker and just not go with a kicker, or some like a defensive lineman. This is the second year or the second week in a row that I've had to do that. I'm starting a lineman with no points, just hoping that my other
just so you can retain the defensive player. Exactly.
Yeah. Been very, very fortunate. Someone who hasn't been very fortunate, Mr. Mick Barton, who probably is having historically his worst season I've ever seen in this league, at 3-10, 11th place. But Abby has to win this game, and both have some players on bye. Abby's at 7-6. He's in 5th place, but a loss definitely murky's the water. Murks the water. It makes
it dirty. Is that what you're trying to say?
I just had a stroke. I had a stroke on air. Things get muddy if he loses, and could potentially get bounced depending on points. Jabel not having as many points, that kind of helps him. So both these guys are having some bye issues. More Abby than Mick. He went all in on the Arizona Cardinals, Murray, Harrison, and Trey McBride. McBride has been the best out of those three. McMurray's been okay, but Marvin Harrison, as high as he was drafted, hasn't performed what everyone thought he was going to be at. And then Garrett Wilson, again, Jets. What's going on there? Like, it's just a black hole of suck in the Jets organization. And then I don't like his running back. I do like Jaylen Warren, but that's only because he gets targets out of the backfield. And then I don't know about Ray Davis there in Buffalo against the Rams. That's a desperation play. But I like his tight end, and I like his flex play, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Who on this team? Is it gonna have to come down to the Arizona trio to win this, or is there a player you're thinking that's gonna overcome projections and win it for him?
No. Yeah, I mean it is gonna come down to the Arizona trio, but there isn't a player that on the roster that's gonna do enough.
Yeah.
I would say somehow if Davis finds the end zone a couple times, then I'll give Nick a shot.
Oh, yeah, over James Cook, who's killing it lately.
Right.
So
Right.
we might be
I've never
agreeing.
seen a roster just devoid of running backs without stud wide receivers. You know, I
Yep.
mean, he put a lot of stock into Harrison, and obviously Wilson didn't pan out the way everybody thought with Rodgers back.
Yes.
But yeah, that's tough. Obviously, I don't like the zero running back philosophy.
No,
but
you've always been
I've
running
always
back
been
strong.
heavy. Yeah, that's why I changed my name.
And this year it has been like one of the lowest outputs for wide receivers out of any. It's been the year of the running back this year, which is
Well, then all the receivers are getting hurt too.
exactly.
Out for the year.
So I mean, Abby's projected to win by 3, and he's still got to fill the bye with Brian Robinson Jr. And the Commanders there. So he'll probably plug in. Who does he have? He's got a lot of people on his bench that have a bye too. Probably Tyler Algier, which again, that's not a great play because John Robinson owns that backfield.
Yeah, you don't have a starting running back to play.
But I love Joe Burrow, AJ Brown against the Panthers. They should eat.
Yeah, that
game.
top three should do damage.
Yeah.
You know.
The Puka against the Bills. I mean, that's in LA, so that's not in the snow out in Buffalo. And then he picked up Garendo from the Niners, who's now the de facto starting running back. And Njoku, man, the last couple of years, he's finally blossomed into like a legit tight end
I've
weapon.
always thought he could be a stud at some point, and it's always like he's on the cusp. Like it's always hit or miss. He'll have a couple good games, whatever. Never really in that top tight end conversation, but he's been balling out recently.
Finally, he's paying off. But yeah,
Amos just out there gunslinging, so somebody's going to benefit from it. The other team a couple times too.
God, I love watching him play football. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I'm taking Hobby this week. I assume you're taking Mick to drop to 3-11, which he's already clinched Hoffa territory, so he is in the Hoffa Bowl running no matter what. So, yeah, I think Hobby's winning.
Yep.
Let's go to your game. Speaking of Hoffa, you get a bye week this week, taking on Nick Shook. Oh, poor Nick, who is the current Hoffa winner and the only other 3-time Hoffa winner other than our dear friend James Yarnell. He's got bye issues. We were talking about CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. Texans are on bye this week, so there's no Stroud, no Nico. He's got his best defensive players on bye, Jeremy Chin, who sometimes is his leading scorer, which is never good. And looking at the bench, there's like an Xavier Worthy play. There's a Zach Charbonnet play. Jordan Mason is done. Jamison Williams might be able to plug in there for a flex, unless he still wants to go 2 tight ends. I think Nick is checked out, to be honest. He's still feeling the effects of that Michigan-Ohio State game and losing to Michigan again.
4 in a row.
I was gonna say let's look at your roster. Oh, and he has Alshon. He's on bye anyways. He's suspended for 3 games.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Nicky boy. You know what? Let's dive into your team. So obviously the bright shot, the beacon of your squad. Josh Allen obviously is going to put up points, but to take a risk on Alvin Kamara, who everyone was saying might be washed, right? And not the Alvin Kamara of old. He's about 106 yards away from the first time in his career getting 1,000 yards rushing. I didn't know that. He's never gone for 1,000 yards on the ground. Now, total yards, obviously, he's like a beast out of the back.
Oh, yeah. He's always been heavy in the passing game.
Always. But this could be the first year he actually gets 1,000 yards rushing. I think that was your best draft pick. Was definitely.
I've never given up on Kamara. I've always thought he still had it. I think I drafted him last year too.
You did. You've had him multiple times. I remember some games. You've had him multiple times, and that was like prime Alvin.
Mm-hmm.
but he's been great. Top 5 running back all season long. I like the play of Adam Thielen there. He's Bryce Young's like favorite just dump off target. I mean, in PPR leagues, that's what you want. It doesn't have to be, your boomer bust touchdown dependent person. I mean, you get 12 to 15 easily with a guy like that.
I'm starting him over Debo this week.
Ooh, yeah.
Debo.
Debo.
He's been the most disappointing.
That has been that whole team has been disappointing this year. I've watched every single game begrudgingly. It's been more frustrating watching them than watching the Colts, which says a lot. And they can't stay healthy.
We've had a lot to look forward to last few weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they got a tough schedule to finish out too. I think they might just phone it in. They might pull Purdy towards the end of the year. I don't know. That's a good play to pull.
The thing is, though, that division is still up for grabs, though. That everybody is in play.
Technically,
it is. Win a couple games.
Just like the AFC South.
I got division games left. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Now you're without Jonathan Taylor, who's also been pretty solid. Obviously not the first couple of years, Jonathan Taylor, but he's been a solid player.
He's not the first round pick that I thought he would be.
Yep. But Josh Jacobs, man, has been solid all season. Stud running back. Here's also my favorite. Did you draft Jonnu Smith, or did you pick him up free agency? You picked him up free agency.
Yeah, I picked him up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when Kincaid went down,
added to waivers. That's got to be one of the best free agent pickups of the season.
Oh, immediate production.
Yeah.
Everyone did. Yeah.
And Miami's just never had a tight end. They've just never utilized the tight end, and Jonnu Smith has been white hot the last few weeks. So, I mean, again, I wanted to pick your roster apart a little bit and dive in. What's your opinion? Like, what's your favorite pick out of that? Is it Alvin, or is it Josh Jacobs? Where do you think you did the best on the drafting this team?
Well, my favorite pick got hurt for the year, and that was Rashee Rice. Ooh. I got him pretty late, if I recall.
Yep.
And he looked like he was just a PPR monster coming out the gate.
Yep.
So, that was my favorite pick of the draft. As far as people that are still on my roster, yeah, probably Kamara. Yeah, he was my third running back picked and my best overall running back. So
it was a solid pick. So I think we're both in agreement. I mean, this is a bye week for you, so you get the easy pass. So not only do you
it's coming up too, Cortland Sutton in the back half of the season with Bo Nix starting to get it together.
Yes, it is.
Like a nice little combo there. So
that, I mean, you are a very dangerous
well in
team
the playoffs.
Well. I don't want to face you. I hope you get the first round bye, so I won't have to play you until the championship if you keep winning out. That team scares me. Your team, and actually I think Abby's team is sneaky good. So those are the two teams I'm worried about. Now, this last game, both of these guys are eliminated. Plow, who won last year, he lost last week, so he is done. Anu is done. 8th versus 9th. This is really just a win to guarantee that they don't get into the Hoffa Bowl running. Anu, bunch of bye issues. Plow, not really. Just looking at the Anu's just got so many guys out, like his main guys. Yeah, I'll give Anu credit, man. He never gave up on Anthony Richardson. He's still rocking with him, and now he's
did he draft better? Did he draft Richardson?
Ooh, I don't think he did. I can find that right now. He got free agent. He got him from free agent. Or no, Nickel had him originally, dropped him, then added him, then Dahlgren had him, then dropped him, and then Anu picked him up. Too. Yeah.
He goes like, no. All right, come back. It's fine.
He's starting to do great. Anu's had, Devin Achane has been great this year. Breece Hall, Jets, whatever. Drake London has also been a great play. I don't see a world where Anu wins this game. Plow's got Patrick Mahomes playing. Lad McConkey's coming on. Jamar Gibbs. I'd be interested to see if he gets punished for that photo he posted, giving away all their signals and their play call sheets essentially on the whiteboard. I don't know if Dan Campbell's gonna like put him in the doghouse for a game or not. We'll see. I doubt it. They play tonight on Thursday.
They're still playing for the 1 seed. In a way, they're gonna bench Sonic.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did you bench Sonic if he was on your team?
No, never. And then James Cook, who's been great. You know, Dallas Goddard's on bye and Scary Terry's on bye, but you know he's got players to plug in there. He doesn't have a tight end.
He didn't have a flex, so he'll go Pitts at tight end and figure it out, I guess.
There you go. So yeah, is there any chance Anu wins this week?
There's just not enough in the roster.
Yeah.
Too many holes to fill. Well, wait a minute here. He's got Caleb Williams that he can slide in there. He does not have a tight end. But
it's Plow.
He can throw in Hopkins or he's got Jones at the flex. That's not bad.
Yeah, this is the most inconsequential game of this week because it's these guys are both eliminated. They're pretty much safe from Hoffa, but if I had to pick a win, I'd take Plow this week. You taking Plow?
Yeah. I mean, there's just not enough on the other side.
Let me ask you something. I don't think I've ever asked you this. How amazing. We briefly talked about it. Do you still relish that feeling of beating him in the championship with the whole Damar Hamlin thing? I still can't get over that.
Oh yeah. That season just seemed like it was just meant for me anyway. Because I was, I think, 2-6 to start the season. So just being there was already shades of a miracle. But it took someone almost dying for me.
Yeah, someone died and came back to life.
To finally get that trophy. So I've been there a couple times before in the Super Bowl. I haven't won. So that was
Yes, you have. A long,
I'd like to earn it, though. I'd like to actually win one without an asterisk. So
okay, there's some motivation.
Yeah,
I just want to win one. It's been way too long. If it's not this year, I don't know what else to do. I'll just cry heavily over
seems
this.
Like I should have some more too, man. I mean, every year it seems like I'm in the playoffs, but shit happens.
Fantasy football, she's a cruel mistress. Mr. Murdoch, thank you for coming on. It is always a pleasure. Hopefully we'll see each other in the championship possibly. But good luck to you the rest of the season. Any parting words for the rest of the 10 members of the LEG?
Watch out for that posse. Every time.
Oh God, I don't want to play your team. Awesome. Thank you, Joe, for joining us on the LEGTV webisode this week. Good luck to everyone. We'll see you next time.